Hi, Natasha. Thank you so much for joining today. It's a pleasure to have you participate in this series.
Hi, yeah, thanks very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So just to get us kicked off, can you tell me a little bit about your role at Sage?
Sure. So I joined Sage 4 years ago and it was a new role. I lead public affairs for Sage and I'm in the comms function. And that means that I am responsible with my team for handling our relationship with government and influencing policy development. So government policy development is relevant to us, and also building networks with what we know in our industry is the decision makers that impact our business. So business groups, campaign groups, politicians, and the areas that we focus on in the public affairs at Sage is championing our customers. 100%, that has to come first. And that means making sure that the voice of small business is heard on issues like COVID recovery support, Brexit, trade. And it means that we have to partner to build our influence. So we are seen as a thought leader on issues that affect us. And that means that we're constantly scanning for which issues might be the most relevant at the moment that we need to get involved in. So today I've been talking about the future of open banking, the future of filing in digitisation of tax in the UK, and we're looking at whether we will have a voice in the G7 and COP26 discussions later this year. So it's a very broad-ranging role that I have.
That's so interesting. And it seems like there's so much intention and thought that goes into that role, even on a day-to-day basis. So can you share a little bit about what type of impact you hope to have with this role?
So I think I would say that having a great, I would hope that if we have a great public affairs strategy that's focused on rapid digital adoption, helping SMEs thrive, it means that we are viewed as a trusted voice for our customers. Mm-hmm. And the more that we engage and partner and campaign constructively, the more we get a voice at the table amongst the decision makers. So we have to present ourselves as being innovative, tech leader, and most importantly, right now, we have to present ourselves as a responsible, purpose-led business, where we champion digital equality, inclusive growth, looking ahead to a greener future as many businesses look at their climate change impact. And there's no doubt that, COVID has been the worst economic crisis in peacetime history. So we need to put forward really constructive ideas to government around what an SME-led recovery could look like. So that could be things like incentives to drive up digital adoption, or an SME-friendly trading environment, helping more people start their own business, for example. If we're being impactful and if we're being successful, then we're engaging in those kind of discussions and people will come to us for our views and our insights.
That's so very true. And you talked about Sage being a leader in the industry and being really a thought leader. So could you chat a little bit about what has shaped your leadership style and how you view that?
Well, I think my leadership style is probably shaped by how I like to work, which is I absolutely thrive in an environment where there's really strong collaboration, which is brilliant being at Sage because there absolutely is that environment. And where people can share views really openly and be ready to jump in on opportunities whenever they see that arise. You have to be agile and you have to move quickly. So that's, I guess, my style is just to encourage as much collaboration as possible and to be more open and in favour of more of a kind of flat structure in some ways, I suppose, than you might have in a more traditional organisation. So I'm lucky to be part of a brilliant team, and it would absolutely be a mistake on my part if I didn't tap into their ideas and wisdom all the time. One of the things I noticed when I joined Sage is that you never regret reaching out to people at Sage because you generally just always get so much proactive sort of response and ideas. and people always welcome you reaching out for a catch up. So it's a really great place to work on that front.
I completely agree. That's very true. You hit the nail on the head there. And then you talked a little bit about some of the advice that you have. Can you dive into a little bit of maybe an obstacle that you encountered in your career or a challenge, and then how you overcame that?
So I think one of the biggest challenges, but I don't mean this in a negative way, has been, and I'm sure many women share this view, and men as well, having children. So I think I've benefited from having some fantastic bosses that I report to in my time, but I've also come across some that are less flexible, not so open-minded. And when I actually started out with my family, so around 20 years ago, there was really no such thing as part-time or flexible work in public affairs, which still tends to be a pretty male-dominated sector. Actually, if you really want, if you want to earn decent money and you want a good career opportunities, you have to think outside the box. So that's why I set up my own limited company at that time and had my own clients for a while, so I could be my own boss. I kind of effectively promoted myself, but also see my children more, and it gave me flexible working hours. And funny enough, my clients never once asked me, where I was at what time. They just wanted to see some good results from my campaigning. Compare that to a managing director in a consultancy I once went to an interview with, who said he didn't see how I could have two families at once, one at work, one at home. Wow. So I couldn't get out of that interview quickly enough, and I'm very lucky at Sage that the Sage is fantastic in terms of flexibility that is on offer, and that makes a huge difference. And I would say for people that are starting out with families, and just don't be afraid to go for something that perhaps looks, quite daunting on paper, full-time job, because in today, given the experience of COVID and the way things are evolving with technology, there's just so many more opportunities to work flexibly and try and keep your career going. So that would be my big advice, is don't hold back.
Love that. That's such great advice, and so inspiring coming from someone who has lived through that and really succeeded because of it. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that insight. I really appreciate your time today, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome. Nice to talk to you. Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you. Have a great day.